On TVC Breakfast, is now time for us to look at what the papers are reporting this morning. First, we have a run-through. The Nation newspaper start with a banner headline. State police has come to stay. Necessary, inevitable, says IG. 8-man panel gets 4-week mandate. Police chief warns against misconduct. Next is the Punch newspaper. State police IG sets up panel to propose framework. New police chief insists force not threatened. Orders intelligence over Middle East tensions. And the Nigerian Tribune says IGP Disu gets set for state police. Inaugurates 8-man committee on implementation. Next is This Nigeria. State police, new IGP Disu takes the bull by the horns. Sets up a committee to shape framework. President orders him to restore public trust, professionalism. The Daily Independent also says, also talks about state police, saying that it's now inevitable. We are not afraid. IGP Disu inaugurates State Police Implementation Committee. And the Leadership newspaper looks at mixed reactions, greets IGP Disu's inauguration of panel on state police. And the Hope newspaper also speaks to insecurity or security. Hope rises for state police as new IGP sets up implementation committee. Tinubu swears in Disu as substantive IG or IGP, others. And Blueprint newspaper is looking at electoral matters. INEC to political parties. Leadership tussles, unnecessary litigations, threats to democracy. EPMC hails review of party regulations guidelines. And the Observer Times. Military operations and community cooperation. Lieutenant General Shaibu hits Benue, orders total crackdown on criminal networks. Chief of Army Staff seeks alliance with Tortave and Ocho Idoma to cooperate with military. And the Platform Times. Federal government imposes 6-year ban on new varsities or universities and polytechnics. Says access no longer Nigeria's main challenge. And last but not least is Sporting Live. No way. Enrique blocks PSG's move to sign Osimhen. And then talking about World Cup playoff tournament. Tickets on sale without Nigeria. We'll be doing this with, of course, our guest analyst who is making an appearance today. I will even say like a debut kind of. And then Etoma and indeed our in-house analyst Biodun show me. But Etoma, I think I'll break the what's it called? You know, the way we normally do it. I'll start off with you, looking at the Nation newspaper. You see the Nation newspaper talking about the state police. The Punch newspaper also agrees with it. Nigerian Tribune, This Nigeria, Daily Independent, Leadership, the Hope newspaper saying that hope rises. The hope is actually playing on its own name. Saying hope rises for state police as new IGP sets up implementation committee. A whole lot of people were asking questions about as to why the former IGP was was allowed to go. Some said because it wasn't really disposed to setting up state police. But this is a marching order given to the new IGP, and he's saying from day one, it is no going back on state police.
I have always been in support of state policing. I've always been in support of state policing. I always say, look, crime is local. So you need local policing too. You know, that may sound very pedestrian, but it makes a whole lot of sense. Yeah. I know that the process takes a lot of time, parliamentary intervention and so on and so forth. But at the end of the day, the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. There's nothing you do on earth that is 100% good, and nothing is 100% bad. In this case, with the kind of insecurity we are having in the country, the need to beef up security in Nigeria is so important. And if we have state police, members of that state police know the terrain they are supposed to walk in. So it will help a whole lot in curbing this insecurity that we are having. And the IGP has been given an order, and he is taking that order seriously. Right. What I really like about what he did is the panel that he set, he put together and gave them 4 weeks to give a report. Yeah,
so the IGP inaugurated a high-ranking 8-member committee to develop an operational framework for establishment of state police. So it's going to be headed by Professor Olu Ogunshak. And do you think by the time they come up with the results, then we'll be on the right track. Or are you still iffy about what's going to happen?
No, I'm not iffy about it. I actually trust what it is that this new IGP is doing. People have said all sorts of things. You know, sometimes when you're looking from the outside, you have no idea what it is that's going on. But I think the president understands what he's doing. Yeah. And I'm happy that the president has really put his foot down to say, look, we must go the way of state police. You just mentioned now, imagine crime, something happening in a place like Ngwawala or in a place like Mbisi as it is. You don't expect the man from the north or the man from the west to come understand what it is that's going on in those local communities. You need people who are there on ground. Exactly, and that's why I'm also for it when you talk about this issue of state police. So the IGP has his marching orders. The man has hit the ground running. And I think that people should just support what it is that he's doing.
Most definitely. So state police, according to the new IGP, is sacrosanct.
No, I mean, it's inevitable. Look at it this way. We won't be talking about state police if federal policing system has been able to address our problems. And that is why we're talking about it. Before state police, we came about the idea of vigilantism. Yes. You know, and then when it gets to election time, the IGP will say, okay, look, vigilantes should leave the streets. They don't want to see them. It's only the Nigerian police force that will enforce, you know, order. What have we been saying? Still, we'll see area boys, you know, talks, still on the streets, you know, without solving that problem. While we kept the vigilantes away, created by law to start with, you know, by the state law. So that became a problem. Number two, go to any state. Virtually all the states have one form of formations or the other, whether they call it RRS, they call it KRS or something RS or something, you know, which the state is funding, you know, in order to boost security. So to a large extent, we have a semblance of it under federal control. So what I think the current IG is trying to do in line with the president directive is to ensure that they can work out the modalities. We know what the problems are currently. The first one is the way the operational modalities, how the state police will interface, you know, with the federal policing system. For instance, if somebody commits a crime in Abuja, moves to Lagos, and that, how would you deal with that? What would be the protocol, you know, in terms of effecting arrest of that person in Lagos, because the person is being looked for, not by the federal police, but by the state police in Abuja. What about the issue of crimes that are not crimes in another state, under the state penal code? So these are issues that protocols they need to work out. The other one, you know, is the issue of how will the state police interface with other federal security agencies.
Collaboration.
It's not only the Nigerian police force. Don't forget you have the army. They have to work together at certain point in time. The DSS is there, the civil defense is there, and all of them. So how will they interface? So there are a lot of issues. The issue of supervision, oversight functions, under whose control? Should it be under the IG, DIG, or will it be under a separate state commissioner of police or a system like that of UK? So they need to study other models and see how they can work out the modalities so that we can eventually have a state police
Absolutely.
system.
I think it's
funding
possible.
is also very
It is possible. There's no doubt about it.
It's possible. They just need to find a way to work around it. But because I think that Nigeria is ripe for it.
Yes.
So that we don't, the country just doesn't depend on the federal police as it is. But you know, again, when you talk about state police, when that happens officially, they can get so powerful. You know?
Yes.
But
yes. We are going to have the teething problems. You know, for me, I see, like what she just said, I see it as one of the things that will raise its ugly head at the initial stage. And before long, that will be corrected. The one that bothers me is the one that you talked about, where the collaboration between the state police and other agencies. Nigeria is not known for departmental collaborations, and I wonder why, because everybody is working towards one goal. So why can't you just cooperate?
Absolutely.
You know, is it that I should take the credit? Is it because somebody wants to take the credit and feels that if I work with you, then we're going to share the credits? I mean,
most definitely. But then another issue is the funding, because some state governors are saying that they do not have, you know, the wherewithal when it comes to funding state police.
No,
but that's another conversation.
They can't say that.
They can't say that now because they cannot say that now because many states' revenue have not only doubled or increased. In the next 3 to 5 years,
that's right,
the states will receive a boost in revenue between 5 to 7 trillion naira. Oh, please, they cannot say that.
Okay then. Until then, when we get to that bridge, we'll definitely cross. Let me skip Blueprint newspaper. I will still come back to it and talk about, because this is security related. Observer Times, military operations and community cooperation. Lieutenant General Shaibo hits Benue, orders total crackdown on criminal networks. And we have the Chief of Army Staff seeks alliance with Totiv and Ochi Doma to cooperate with military. So the marching order, the results, objectives are actually, safe return of IDPs, consolidating security to allow more displaced persons to return to their ancestral homes, protection of livelihoods, and no sanctuary for criminals. We've been having issues, in the Middle Belt. Benue State is in the Middle Belt, yeah. That's the food basket of the nation.
Yes.
Yes. Right. So, and if we do not tackle insecurity there, then food prices will definitely not really come down as the way we're seeing it.
Yes, Benue State is so strategic, especially when we are thinking of food. It is strategic. Unfortunately, it had been bedeviled by criminality, by unnecessary attacks by terrorist groups, bandits, and the rest. So this decision to stamp your foot on the ground and say, this criminal element, we're going after you, it sounds like Christmas for me. It's something that should have happened long before. And I hope we're going to go beyond the rhetorics and do the real action. And, for the government to come out and say, this is what we're going to do right now, connotes that they know they know what to do. There's just been their hands had been tied. Now your hands are loose. You can do the stuff. The people of Benue State need to go back home and start cultivating and contribute to the food needs of Nigeria.
Absolutely. There is no way we can fight insecurity without, internal collaboration, especially when it comes to collaboration with the traditional leaders. That's why the Chief of Army Staff, went to the palaces of Totiv, Professor James Otse Iozua Ayatse, and the Ochi Doma HRM Agbaidu Elaiwo Odogbo, and he's, begging them that we need intels, from you, and then we need collaboration in order to fight this insecurity to a standstill. Yes,
of course, that's a given. At every point in time, people, they defer to their traditional heads, defer to their religious leaders. So it's a good one that they're going to the two traditional leaders to say, we need intel from you, we need you to talk to your people. And you know how we are in this part of the world. When you look at the north, they revere their traditional rulers. You look at the south, the same thing. Southwest, the same thing. In the east also, there are men who, get the people together, leaders who get the people together to say, this is the way to go. So I think it should be across board, wherever it is we want to fight insecurity. Because I tell you, my governor is doing quite a lot. I don't want to blow his trumpet. That's not the reason I'm here. But he's doing a lot when you talk about insecurity. Years when they say, you can't come to Imo State, this is happening, that is happening. Someone actually said it to me when I was appointed 4 years ago. Why would you go back to a place like Imo? And I said to them, no, why not? That's where I'm from. And they keep saying insecurity, insecurity. I said, no, we're not all dead there. I'm there. And I'm going on now. This is my 4th year there. And people are coming back home. Businesses are starting out. Things are beginning to boom there. And the governor is doing a lot. So for Benue, I would want to be selfish. They should do nothing to our food basket.
Absolutely.
Whatever they need to do there to see that people are safe, they can go back to their farms. I think they should.
Mr. Shomi, and it's also very important that we have the IDPs resettled back to their ancestral homes.
Yes, we need to get them back to where they're from. But we should not forget it won't be an easy task. The first thing is you have to solve the security problem. They will not just easily agree to relocate to places that have been burnt down completely. There is the fear, the anxiety, and all that, and we need to address that. And that's one thing I'm very happy about with this issue of state police. They will understand their terrain. They will be able to protect the people better than what we have currently. So we can't ignore the issue of the IDPs, internally displaced people, no matter what. They need to go back to where they're from. But we need to create the enabling environment for them to go back.
All right, then, let's move on to the platform times because of our time. Federal government imposes 6-year ban on new varsities Polytechnics, I think universities is actually a word used by the Indians. We use university in Nigeria. Says access no longer Nigeria's main challenge. Mass literacy agency restored to tackle 56 million illiteracy burden, and medical fellowships now recognized as PhD equivalent. So this is actually coming on the heels of, there was a pool of 79 active applications because they had already met stringent National University Commission's requirement, and billions of naira had already been invested in infrastructure. So it affects both private and public institutions because the infrastructure, we are not really, taken care of. So you see our universities not really delivering as they should. That's the reason to say moratorium on it. Is it moratorium? No, embargo on any new universities. We just have to focus on the one that we have.
Which makes quite a lot of sense to me, because we already have a lot of universities and polytechnics in Nigeria. But what is the quality of graduates that we're churning out? For me, the quality is not the way it should be. So stop building more. Let's build the system in our universities and polytechnics. Let's bring out real quality graduates that will come into the labor market, that will come into the country and contribute meaningfully for the development of our country. So the 6-year ban to me makes a lot of sense, and maybe at the end of 6 years they'll push it, give us another 6 years to hold on with the universities. We need to build the systems and invest more on the existing ones.
Very quickly, because of our time, we see this administration, focusing on the education sector, not just security or a health sector. Tunji Lausa had a meeting with the professors, the university lecturers, where they agreed on, all of this. Is it ASU? Yeah. They agreed on some of the things that they've been fighting over. That's been sorted, this January when they paid their salaries. And he's also looking at, we need to ensure that our schools are very, very effective, especially with now they are paying student loans, so we can't be paying too many schools.
Yeah. I think it's wonderful. This administration is very interested in education, and I don't understand why they shouldn't be, because that's the way to go. A lot of things are happening in other parts of the world now, and we need to begin to look that way. And I'm happy also that they're beginning to take what's it called now? Information technology. You're looking at AI, you're looking at all of the new things happening these days. When you talk about this generation, you talk about the Gen Zs and the Gen Alpha. Everything is moving at the speed of light. And I'm glad that, government is looking that way. You just talked about this ban. For me, I would have just said, put a lid on it indefinitely.
Indefinitely.
Indefinitely. The 6 years, before you know it, within the twinkle of an eye, 6 years is over. Then people are jostling again. You're setting up. I went to Abia State for an event, and I passed through an institution. I don't want to mention the name. I went in there. I was lodged in that place. Beautiful place. But where are the students? It's even up and open, running. Where are the students? And I'm sure that's how it is in some other places that have just been set up. Are you just setting up higher institutions because you want to have the name, I'm an owner, or I own a higher institution?
Absolutely.
That's it. So we need to do exactly what it is that's right. I think it should be an indefinite ban until everything is set in
Absolutely. I'd seen different schools outside of the country. The first time I went to the UK, I was lodged in Surrey University, one of the hostels. And a hostel actually felt as though I was in a hotel. So you can't be in that kind of environment without your brain, opening up. Even though I didn't go there to study, my brain opened up.
But it's not just about building institutions. What about facilities? Go and look at many of those private universities. How many of them are offering courses in medicine, in engineering, and you see so many of them in arts and other disciplines, social sciences and all that. So you begin to ask yourself, look, what about this highly capital intensive sector? We need more doctors in Nigeria. Why aren't we investing in that area? Simply because, again, the private sector thinks profit first, and the government sector has always been coming to our aid. For instance, last year, less than 250,000 people gained admission into federal universities in Nigeria. Yes, it's not enough, but we need to ensure that standards are maintained and facilities are available in all those institutions.
All right, then let's get to the very last one because of our time. We need to wrap up. But then, Mr. Shomi, looking at the Sport and Life, this is talking about World Cup playoff tournament. Tickets on sale. without Nigeria. Up for grabs for as little as $11. DR Congo, Bolivia, New Caledonia, and Jamaica. Suriname listed. What's happening?
Yeah, we failed ourselves. Honestly speaking, we didn't get our hearts together. We lost some matches, and that became a major problem for us. I mean, if you look at the situation currently, we started hoping that maybe we can play on the rules, you know, to get DR Congo disqualified. Yeah. Unfortunately, FIFA rejected our protest, so we're out of that World
No
Cup.
problems. He will fight. He will fight and runs away. Leaves to fight another day.
So we should learn a lesson to be better prepared. We have excellent players. The issue is, you know, we think we can just pull people together within a short time and get them to...
Five brigade approach to things. We always have the five brigade approach to things.
All right, then.
It's a teamwork thing. It's not about individual players.
Yeah. That's about it for the newspapers of review. I believe that you had a very, very, insightful, analysis of some of the headlines.